All right, everyone, welcome back to the Business Behind Sports podcast. We are on episode 34. I know it's been a while since I have posted an episode. Couple reasons for that, which I will explain in this episode. This is going to be like an update episode, sort of. I feel like I've been doing a lot of these recently because I just haven't posted anything. Um, and like it sucks because like I really want to make it like consistent, but sometimes it's just tough for me. Like right now, it's tough for me to make an episode, um, which I will get on in a little bit. Or it has been tough for me the past couple weeks. Um, and yeah, so uh, now I want to get back into it. I want to make it like a weekly thing again. I even put on this blue themed room. It's like the first time I put my blue LED lights on. I've always had it on purple, and it's been cool with the previous like podcast because before I rebranded it to this, it was purple. So I always had the purple LEDs, but now I got to switch it to blue, and looks nice. I think, hopefully. I don't know if I'll post a video of. Maybe I'll post videos from now on too, so that would be kind of cool. Also, I do look really bad right now. If you are watching this, um, I I took like the past 5 days and just like didn't shave, or 3 days, 3 days, 4 days, and I just haven't shaved at all. So I'm growing this huge stash and beard. I guess it works from November, I guess, but um, I'll probably shave it tomorrow. I don't know if I should grow it out or not. Maybe I don't know, but um, yeah, that's not what we're talking about today on this episode. Um, if this is your first time listening, welcome. First of all, I like to just ramble on about stupid things, so beware of that. But yeah, today is just gonna be kind of like an update episode, just like what's been going on in my life since I've graduated, um, ended my internship, the end of the PSC season, start of the Royal season, and yeah, so and then just like my personal life as well. So um, that's sort of the road we're going to for this episode, and I want to get some more guests on for the later episodes. So stay tuned for all of that. But first and foremost, why haven't I been posting in the past 2 months or so? Yeah, I think the last. Let me check actually. I think the last episode I posted was like was like September or late August. So I remember like I just finished my internship when I made an episode with Cohen. Um that was September 2nd. So at the time of recording right now, it is November 9th or November 8th actually. 10 p.m., which is also why I look like this. But for some reason I really like doing like late night podcast episodes. I guess that's when my rambling comes out. um yeah. So uh why haven't I been posting in 2 months? So well, I was gonna post like late October, but recently I fractured my ankle. So right now I'm in a cast right now. It sucks. Well, like the air cast, it's not like an actual like cast, but so I could take it off and on, which is really nice. But yeah, I fractured my ankle playing soccer. Um, and if you know me, like I haven't played soccer in competitive soccer in like 4 years. Um, and so I just play like recreational stuff when I can. And I was hurt during the summer. Um, it's something to do with like the nerve in my right leg. Um, and so I was very hesitant to like go back and play and like re-injure myself. Um, which is I guess what exactly happened, but I don't think it's really affected. It wasn't affected to the injury. Like my fractured ankle wasn't like the cause of me coming back to play. It was just kind of like a freak incident. So, hmm, I was so that day I went to that morning I went to watch Pacific FC play because they were playing away, so I wasn't working. And so all the staff, some of the supporters came out to this restaurant and we watched their second leg of the semifinals. We were down 2-0 for we hosted the first game, and that was really cool. But we lost 2-0 that game, so we had to win by or at least win by 2 goals to go into extra time. They didn't have the away goal rule where if it was like 3-1 for us, then we would move on. But yeah, so if it was like 3-1, then it would go to extra time still because the aggregate score would be tied. The away goals don't count. But yeah, we ended up tying that game 1-1, so we didn't get the finals, which sucks. But it's a good season. I'll talk a little bit about that later on. And as I was leaving the restaurant around 12:30, 1 o'clock ish, my friend texted me who also works with PSC. And he was like, hey, we used to when we were playing. I played on another UVic Intramural team, the previous year, and we played against each other. So he knows that like I play like a little bit. And he was like, hey, do you want to like come out and play for our team? He's been asking me for like a few weeks, but I just been like I've had to work and stuff. So I was like, yeah, I'll show up. And I thought usually the games were at like 1 o'clock. So I was like, oh shoot, I didn't know. But then he's like, no, the game starts at 2 o'clock. So it's like perfect. So I went home, got changed, went to the soccer game. Warm up was pretty good. Felt good. It was my first time playing in like a few like my first time actually like doing like high intensity stuff in like a few weeks. So but warm up felt good. Felt good to play. So yeah, I started playing. I played left back because that's like my favorite spot. So played left back. I was running up down the field a little bit, had the ball a couple times, and 5 minutes into the game, I go in for a tackle on the left side, and I tackle with my like they kicked the ball, but then I stuck my foot out, my right foot out, and then I rolled my foot over the ball and then landed on the top of my foot. When I landed on the top of my foot, I heard like this crack in my ankle and it hurt so much. Like I sprained my ankle a lot, so I know like what a sprained ankle sort of feels like, but this felt a lot worse than a sprained ankle. Like with a sprained ankle, you kind of like hobble off a little bit, but I couldn't put any weight on it on my foot. I couldn't. I had to like crawl off the field and then just sit there for like a long time, basically, because my parents were in Vancouver, and I drove to the field, and so I had to wait for my parents to come, so my dad can take the car, and then, or my mom dropped my dad off so that me and him could go to the hospital, and so get to the hospital, and my foot is like super swollen on the outside of my foot, but it kind of like fractured both the inside and the outside, but the outside was a lot more worse than the inside of my ankle or inside of my foot. And so it's like super swollen. Couldn't put any weight on it. I had to go in like in a wheelchair to the hospital. And then got x-rays right away, which is good. So I thought it was broken at the time. Like it felt like it was really, really bad. But yeah. And then got the x-rays, had to wait in the waiting room for a couple hours. And then the doctor said that I had some small bone fractures and torn ligaments in my ankle. and it said that it takes about 8 to 10 weeks for it to like fully recover, where I could like attempt to play soccer again. Um, so it's been about 2.5 weeks, maybe, yeah, 2.5 weeks or so. And the I couldn't, first week and a half, I couldn't put any weight on my foot. So I was on crutches in the cast for a while. Still on the cast now, but I could, well, I guess this past week, I was able to put weight on my foot, but I couldn't um, put weight on my foot without the crutches. So I need that extra support. But now I could walk on it now, which is good, but I still need the cast. So I don't have the full like ankle mobility to walk normally. So I'm hoping by like next week I'll be able to take the cast off. Um, and yeah, and then I guess just kind of rest for not really do much until um those 2.5 months are gone, until I can start attempting to do more high intensity stuff. But um yeah, that's kind of the biggest reason why I haven't been posting the past couple weeks, at least, because I've just been resting my foot, and it was weird. Like I would take my cast off to like sleep and stuff, but it would hurt so much more than when I would keep the cast on, even when I was just like resting in bed. And so I had to get up at like 2 o'clock in the morning just to like put the cast on because it was hurting too much. But now it's like okay, but um, yeah, still have to keep the cast on. It doesn't hurt at night anymore, which is good, but I still have to keep the cast on to like walk around and stuff. So, um, yeah, it kind of sucked because it's it's my first time playing it like 2 years or something, and then 5 minutes in, I just destroyed my ankle. So, uh, yeah. And then the funny thing is because I saw all my like coworkers and stuff the day of like that morning, and then I fractured my ankle that afternoon, and so I just put in the group chat like, "Hey, I'm at the hospital, but I'm wearing like we have like a Pacific FC group chat with all the um most of the staff, the game day staff and stuff, and I put in the group chat because I'm wearing like my Pacific FC like jacket and stuff, and like, hey, we're having PFC at the hospital, and then everyone was like, "What? I just saw you like 2 hours ago." Yeah, I played soccer again, fractured my ankle. And then I, at the end of the season, or this was like, when did I post this? This was because obviously we lost, so we ended the season, obviously. So it's like off season right now. And I'm just looking at my personal Instagram because I posted, this was October 28th. So I've been like a week after. Oh no, this was like 3 days after I fractured my ankle. And all the players and stuff like just hung out with us for dinner and just had a good like get together casual thing. Coaches and staff and players and stuff. It was pretty cool, pretty fun just to hang out with them and yeah. Um, but everyone was like, "What happened to your foot?" Like I literally saw you like 2 weeks ago and you're fine. um, yeah. And then I was talking to like the captain of the team. I was like, um, and he's like, "What do you do for?" And I was like, "I fractured my ankle playing soccer." And he was like, "Yeah, it's a tough sport, man." I was like, "Yeah, but you guys like make it look easy." And yeah, he actually retired now, so he's part of like the front office staff now, which is pretty cool to see. Um, and yeah, so that's sort of the life of my injury right now. I haven't really been able to do a whole lot. Um, but I work tomorrow morning, so it'll be good to actually, because I had to go in crutches and stuff. And it sucked, but now I could actually do more things and walk around and stuff, go up downstairs. um, yeah. So that's my injury. Check mark in my notes. I just have like a full few bullet points, and the first one was injury. Check that off. Next on the list is my work. So, as I said earlier, the PFC season ended. We had a few games. We came since September. We had a few more home games, so that was pretty fun. Hosted a playoff game, the first playoff game, home playoff game in history, which is pretty sweet. We did play the top team, and that's how we got knocked out. So, very unfortunate, but crowd is pretty good. Um, it was a good game. We kind of we dominated the game, obviously, not obviously, but um, like we did dominate the game, but and then Ottawa just got 2 late goals, which sucks, but um, yeah, and then we got knocked out in the second leg. So, but the game was fun. The season was fun. Um, it was my first like season in like a bigger role, so just a little bit more responsibility on my end, but I think it worked out well. Um, and yeah, it's been fun. New ownership came in, and hopefully there'll be some good things for next season with the new ownership. And some new signings, obviously, and already seen some departures on the Instagram and stuff. So kind of sucks because you chat with the guys like um uh what is it? Chat with them like before the game, after the game, during the game sometimes, and so obviously you like build friendships and stuff throughout the year, and so it'd be good, cool to see them like on other teams coming on other teams in the league coming here. Good to see them still, but yeah, sucks that they like what was I gonna say? I don't know. It just sucks when when you know people and then they leave and then all that stuff. So, but that's part of the league, part of the team, part of the mission, I guess. Um, just reality. Working in sports teams, that there will be a lot of turnover, but um, yeah. So that was sort of the end of the PFC season, and then during the end of the PFC season, when I start doing the Victoria Royal stuff, so that's been pretty fun as well. The Royals haven't been as good as PFC. I think we're like dead last in the league basically, so not very great. But Connor Bedard will be coming on the 26th. If you don't know who Connor Bedard is, he'll be the number 1 draft pick in the NHL this after this summer. And so he's coming here to play a game against the Royals. So obviously that game is like sold out. There'll be lots of things going on, lots of things I have to do that game. But yeah, and I just got a new role doing a fan experience assistant role. So first I was like fan experience member, so just like going to the games, working the games and stuff. So now I am a little bit of a higher role, just sort of like assistant to my boss, basically. So that's where I'll be tomorrow morning in the office, planning games and stuff. So it's pretty cool because you get to like, I'm involved in like the ideas for games and also like the execution of the games. But with my old role, it was just the execution of the game. So now I get to plan and execute, which is pretty cool. Working with sponsors, just doing more of the logistics, I guess. And yeah, so that'd be pretty cool, pretty fun. Um, and it's just something to add because that's sort of stuff I want to do like full time. It's like planning things and especially for like games and stuff because that's in events. Because that's all my experience is working in games and events. So it'd be it's kind of cool to see like how things are sort of planned out and being involved in that is pretty cool too. So yeah, so that season goes on. Like we just started last. It's been a couple months, I guess, but so the season's pretty new, pretty fresh. Um, and so right now we're planning for our like Remembrance Day game, the Connor Bedard game, which would be huge, and then like our Christmas stuff coming up. So um, those are sort of the big three. And so that'll be cool. Um, and yeah, I mean, that's about it. Other than that, I ended my internship. I guess I might have mentioned that in the previous episode. Um, it was like nearing the end. Oh no, it was right, September. It was like a month since I ended that internship. Um, and he actually emailed me saying like, "Hey, when are you coming back to the gym?" Because I went back like once because I was still coming off that leg injury, and then I fractured my ankle. I was like, "Well, I can't go back to the gym now." But maybe I should start going back, but just doing modified stuff. Um, and yeah, um, that'd be kind of cool. Well, kind of, I guess. I hate like I went to watch my brother's soccer game, and obviously when you're out in public wearing this like big cast thing, everyone's just gonna look at you, and I just don't want. Sometimes I don't like that. Sometimes I just want to like just chill and just do my own thing. But obviously everyone comes up and asks you like what happened and all this stuff. So it's whatever. But um, yeah, sometimes I just like want to do my own thing and not care about answering people's questions about my ankle. But uh, yeah, so um, so yeah, I ended the internship. Um, it was cool. It's a good experience. Getting some social media stuff. My graphic design stuff I think is okay, but my video editing is just so bad. So it was tough to like do videos, but like doing photos and stuff was okay for me. Um, and then obviously when I ended my internship, that means I graduated school. So I am waiting for my degree to show up in the mail. Hopefully in the next week or so. They said like 12 weeks after the completion of my course, which was like technically it was like late August, but I finished in like early August with all the hours I put in. So, um, yeah. So I'll be hopefully like mid to late November. I'll get my degree, which would be sweet. And um, I don't know where to put it, but somewhere in my room, obviously. But I have a spot maybe here next to my desk. Be kind of cool. Um, frame it somewhere. I don't know. Other than that, I don't know, not too much. Plans for the podcast, just keep it going and consistent. I feel like that's the hardest thing, but it's the most important thing is to keep it super consistent. Because obviously you just won't grow the podcast if you're not consistent. You won't grow anything if you're not consistent with it. So, um, yeah, I mean that's sort of my life right now. My foot work graduated life. Dude, I had people ask me like, what does it feel like to be graduated now? It's like it's just the same. Like you just don't do school anymore. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Um, to have some sort of like certification of something. If you don't know, my degree is in sport management. Um, and that's sort of like the like the sort of stuff I talk about is the stuff that I learn in school, or B, that I just like um learn from like working in sports. So um yeah, that's and so the podcast is more of like a sport management perspective of of sports, because I feel like not a lot of people like either understand or know too much about sort of like the behind the scenes in sports, which is why the podcast is called The Business Behind Sports, because sports is a business and that's what's going on behind the scenes. So um yeah, um so I like to share like my perspective on things, and just from a sport management side. um and yeah, I the so when I started my podcast, it was like I was always talking about like stats and stuff. Like you could scroll through the older episodes. Like my first few episodes was like Barcelona 2008, talking about stats and stuff. I was like, I feel like stats are kind of boring to talk about, in my opinion. You just bring it up like, I don't know. I just think it's pretty boring to talk about. Um, so I just like to chat about sports just in a casual way, and hopefully you're enjoying it. And it's, I mean, this is sort of like what I talk about all day. So it's just sports and just life. So um, yeah. I mean, other than that, so that's why I like I made the podcast. Is like I felt like a lot of people were talking about stats, and 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 especially basketball, because I listen to like a lot of basketball podcasts. But recently I listened to like the JJ Redick podcast, and like um the Draymond Green podcast a little bit, and those ones are really really good because they just talk about basketball. They don't bring up all these stats and stuff. Sometimes they do, which is fine, but like most of the time they just talk about like life as a basketball player, or life as a life in the media, or things like that. So um that's sort of the side I want to go towards in terms of this podcast, and not talking about like the Lakers are bad because they're like shooting this percentage at, and they're this ranked in defense and all this stuff. And I'm like, I just want to talk about just, you know, I don't know if this makes any sense. I'm just rambling on, but um yeah, I need to take a sip of my Pepsi. Some ASMR stuff going on. That was probably really bad to listen to. um, yeah, I guess that's sort of it for you. I feel like I'm so boring outside of sports. Like all I do is like watch sports articles, or watch sports videos on YouTube, read sports articles, and work in sports. And that's all I do. And then my life outside of that is like watching sports games. So yeah, I feel like I'm kind of boring outside of sports, but I guess the things I do are kind of cool sometimes. Um, but yeah, I think that's sort of what we end the episode. Blah, what am I even talking about? I guess that's where we'll end the episode. Yeah, I said that right. Correct. Okay. Just making sure that I didn't slur that again. Um, but yeah, I want to get some more people on the podcast soon. I asked people from PFC, maybe a couple of my coworkers or some players. That'd be kind of cool. I put on my Instagram, like, should I get the mascot as like one of the guests, just as like a joke? And and I found a video when I like I guess I'm not ending the episode yet. When I after our what was it? I guess after every game like I work at, I always look at the comments um just to see like if anyone noticed like the things behind the scenes, but nobody ever does. There's been games where things have been like such a struggle, but um nobody ever notices. And again, that's what I mean when nobody noticed like the behind the scenes in sports. Like nobody cares. I I guess some people care, but like they care about like the game. Because like my job is kind of reflected on like the game performance, I guess. So like if the game is like delayed or something, like then people notice. But there's things that go on behind the scenes where you have to fix, like to make sure the game runs on time. So um the games run on time, but nobody notices like the work that goes on to make that happen sometimes. So sometimes I just like to look at the comments just to see if people like notice like if this what happened and stuff. But nobody does, which means my I'm doing my job correctly. um, and it's also more stressful because it's on TV. So um, yeah, I'm on TV a lot in the background. I'm even on like on these like Instagram posts and stuff too. You could like see me, and so sometimes I just screenshot it, just save it in my camera roll. Um, but yeah, I do that with both the Royals and PFC. I always look at the comments just to see like people notice like anything, but nobody ever does, um, which is good and bad sometimes, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, so that's sort of like the direction of the podcast where I could share some of that stuff, that things that people may not notice of like my jobs and stuff. So um yeah, that is where I will end the episode. Hopefully you enjoyed just me rambling on for a bit. Follow the podcast on Instagram at the business behind sports. I will be posting more regularly on there. I don't want to post like just podcast stuff. I want to post like, sports things and just like maybe share a little bit more of like my personal life as well. Cause I have like my personal account where I obviously more like pictures and stuff. Um, but I might transition that into the the podcast account as well, which would be kind of cool just to see a little bit more of the things I do. Um, and podcast available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, etc. Probably all the main podcast platforms. Yeah, other than that, I think that is it. You can follow me on Instagram as well. It's linked in my um, podcast account. And yeah, that's about it. I'll see you next time.